The rain pounded like angry waves on the city streets, the sky a menacing gray above. Priscilla, a 25-year-old known in the alleys as Dumpster Girl, shivered as she huddled against a broken lamppost in a dingy alley in a poor neighborhood of Los Angeles. She was soaked to the bone. No umbrella, no raincoat, no shoes, not even a name she could truly call her own. Asterisk, can you imagine surviving on scraps, with nothing but a torn plastic sheet for shelter? Stay with us on Dark Voices to uncover a story that'll grip your heart. Asterisk. Abandoned at a foster home and raised bouncing from one shelter to another, Priscilla had no memory of her real identity. For 5 years, she survived on scraps, scavenging leftovers from fast food dumpsters just to get by. She'd long accepted that during stormy nights like this, the only thing that would embrace her was the torn plastic sheet she used to line the cold pavement when she tried to sleep. Crap, she muttered under her breath, squeezing herself between two overflowing trash bins behind an old fried chicken chain. I'm late. Someone already beat me to McDonald's. She peeked into the bin. Piled inside were half-eaten fries, a soggy burger, damp wrappers from fried chicken buckets, and a few hot dog ends stained with ketchup. She didn't hesitate. She pulled out a crumpled grocery bag and began salvaging the still edible pieces. What a waste! This burger still has meat in it, she whispered, brushing off the part that had fallen to the floor. Asterisk, what happens when a billionaire's car screeches to a halt in this forgotten alley? Keep listening to Dark Voices for a twist you won't see coming. Asterisk. Suddenly, the screech of tires ripped through the quiet night. A black luxury car stopped abruptly near the curb, too close. The door slammed, and a deep voice barked out, "What the hell? Are you insane?" Startled, Priscilla froze, unsure if it was fear or curiosity that held her in place. The man who stepped out was tall, dressed in a tailored coat despite the rain, his leather shoes sinking into the mud, his face untouched by sunlight, his hair perfectly combed, and his expression sharp. "What the heck is this guy's deal?" she muttered, eyeing him with suspicion as he approached, phone in hand, as if ready to record her and blast it on social media. "Are you seriously picking through trash in the middle of the street? Do you have any idea how dangerous that is?" he snapped in perfect English. Priscilla scowled. "Why? Has anyone ever died from trash?" The man's brows furrowed in confusion. "If you don't want to get your fancy shoes muddy, don't step out of your royal chariot, Prince," she added, her sarcasm biting. He looked her over, her greasy hair, ketchup-smudged cheek, mud-stained skirt, and shook his head. "Oh my God," he whispered. "That necklace." Priscilla instinctively touched the rusted chain around her neck. It had a small, weathered pendant shaped like a pea. It was all she had from the convent where she had grown up. The old nun had once said it might lead her to her family someday. She never cared about that, but the man in front of her had gone pale. "Where did you get that necklace?" he asked. "I don't remember. It's been with me forever." "What's your name?" "I don't have one. People just call me Dumpster Girl. Even in the foster homes, they never gave me a real name." The man blinked. "Dumpster Girl." He almost chuckled. "Seriously, that's your name? Better than Xander. Sounds like a villain on a daytime soap." He stiffened. "Fair point. I'm Xander. Xander Imperial." Priscilla rolled her eyes. "Wow. Full name and all. Fancy." But Xander couldn't shake the feeling. That necklace wasn't a coincidence. There were only 3 like it. One was with him, the second was buried with his late wife, and the third, rumor had it, belonged to the granddaughter of a powerful man who had mysteriously vanished years ago. In business, Xander had learned one thing: there are no coincidences, only calculations. "Get in the car," he said firmly. Priscilla squinted at him. "What?" "I said, get in the car now." She understood him. She wasn't stupid. Over the years, she'd picked up English from the people around her. "Hey, I don't just hop into cars with strangers. You might traffic me to some weird place." She was the only homeless woman Xander had met with this much sass. "You think I need to kidnap someone in a Bentley?" She squinted at the car. This is a Bentley? I thought it was a Hershey. They stared at each other, her shivering from the cold, him battling something he couldn't name. Xander didn't know why he was doing this. But after countless women tried and failed to replace his late wife, this filthy, feisty girl was the first who stirred something unfamiliar in his chest. And not because of how she looked, but because of the mystery wrapped around her entire being. I'm not going to sell you or kill you. I just want to take you home. Feed you. Let you dry off. Take me home and feed me? What am I, a cat? But her stomach had already been growling. Something like that. She frowned. She was soaked, freezing, and had nowhere else to go. And if this guy turned out to be some psycho, well, she knew how to kick someone in the balls. Fine. But if you try anything, I swear I'll rip your ears off. Xander smiled faintly. He wasn't sure if he should be amused or alarmed. When she climbed into the car, she made sure to sit all wet in the back seat, turning left and right to spread the moisture. There, equal moisture across your fancy leather seats, she muttered. She'd heard that term once from a car-crazy guy. I'll just charge you $10,000 for that later, Xander muttered while texting. Good luck. I don't even have $10, she replied with a shrug. As the car drove off into the storm, neither of them realized that their unexpected encounter was just the beginning of a story that would blur the line between pretend and real, between obligation and love. Stay tuned to Dark Voices for more. The grand front door of the mansion swung open. Xander entered first, dry and neatly dressed in a clean button-up shirt. Behind him stood Priscilla, still dripping wet, caked with mud, and holding a plastic bag filled with food Xander had bought her. She stopped at the entryway, eyes wide as she looked up at the chandelier above, then down at the marble floor and plush carpet beneath her feet. Shoot! I might tear this carpet, she whispered, grabbing onto Xander's arm. What if your carpet ghosts come after me? Xander turned to her. Take your shoes off. You're dragging mud all over my Italian rug. She raised an eyebrow. Italian? I thought this was some outlet store piece. Looks like those on TV from budget furniture shows. You're messing with me, aren't you? Xander scowled. This rug costs more than your lifetime of dumpster meals. Take the shoes off. She pouted but complied. Fine. As if you cleaned this thing yourself anyway. As Xander flipped on the lights, 3 household staff appeared, visibly surprised and exchanging glances. Sir, who is she? Xander paused, remembering she had no real name. She's my guest. Prepare a room and call my team. We need a full transformation by tomorrow. She furrowed her brow, glancing at him. Huh? What team? Is this a makeover or some pageant? Xander shot her a stern look. Just trust me. Go with them. Shower, eat, sleep. I'll explain everything tomorrow. She stepped closer to him. Wait, are you serious? You're not going to skin me alive or something, right? She muttered under her breath. What are you talking about? This is a mansion. You guys could be some cult turning the homeless into sausages and selling them, she replied deadpan. Her crazy remarks made the maids exchange even more looks. Since Xander's wife died, he hadn't spoken this much to a woman. He had always been cold, distant, and severe. Women usually ended up embarrassed trying to connect with him. You watch too many crime documentaries, Xander sighed. I don't even have Netflix. I just watched through the glass of appliance stores from the sidewalk, she retorted. Xander rubbed his temple. Go take a shower. You smell like old gravy. Go. Unless you want me to carry you. She backed away. Thanks, but this is my signature scent, and I can walk just fine. When she entered the room, she was stunned by the size of the bed. Foam mattress, thick comforter, 5 pillows. She had just finished showering. Before that, Xander had fed her. Damn, I have my own bed here, she muttered. Carefully, she laid down, testing it first with her hands. Whoa, it's so soft. She rolled around the bed, giggling. Oh my god, this must be what heaven feels like. Suddenly, the door opened. Xander stepped in, holding a bathrobe and a towel. You forgot your toiletries, he said. She laughed. Wow, your welcome gift is a towel. Xander took a deep breath, trying to stay patient. We send you to the spa tomorrow. For now, just don't break anything in here. I might be the one who breaks, not your stuff. I'm not used to air conditioning. My soul might freeze. Good night, miss. Do you remember anyone ever calling you something? She paused, thinking. No, but I do remember a nun used to call me something at the foster home. I forgot what it was. It's been so long. But earlier while eating, I heard a name on the radio. Priscilla. It sounded beautiful. I want you to call me that. She smiled as she said it. She didn't know why, but hearing that name made her feel something deep inside, like it belonged to her, like it was always hers. Xander smiled faintly. Priscilla, it sounds expensive, but I like it. She nodded. Yeah, feels like a name fit for a villainess. Xander chuckled. Then, Priscilla it is. Good night, Priscilla. Good night, Mr. Imperial. It's Xander. Whatever. I'm going to sleep now. So much attitude. Xander just shook his head and walked out, heading to his own bedroom right next to hers. What secrets does Priscilla's necklace hold, and how will it change her life? Don't miss the next part on Dark Voices. Early the next morning, the entire glam team was already buzzing inside a room that looked like a mini salon. There were makeup stations, racks of designer clothes, 5 hairstylists, and 2 dermatologists. In the middle of it all stood Priscilla, clearly terrified. Why are there so many lights? What's that sound? What is that machine? She pointed nervously. Sweetheart, relax. We're not hurting you. We're enhancing you. You're a diamond in the rough. Emphasis on rough, said the glam coordinator, Fabio, with a charming smile. She scowled. What? Just then, Xander walked in. Both turned to him. It means, Xander said dryly, you need a little help. Or maybe a miracle. Priscilla stood and faced him. Excuse me. I'm not a rag, okay? I might smell like dried fish sometimes, but I still have feelings. Xander was momentarily taken aback by her sudden presence. She was simply standing there, arms crossed, but her fire was undeniable. He looked away and sighed, trying to compose himself, then stepped forward and flicked her forehead. Exactly why we're doing this. You can't go around looking like you've been living in a garbage can. She rubbed her forehead. Ouch. At least I can sleep, even in a garbage can. Unlike you, who probably hasn't had a dream in years with all that business stress. Your nightmares are probably spreadsheets. Xander shook his head, but a tiny smile tugged at the corner of his lips. Enough. Sit in the chair and let them work. You're so stubborn. She sat down with a huff. Fine, but if I go blind from your chemicals, I'm suing you. If you go blind, at least you won't have to see your own eyebrows. That's a win. You're so annoying. Leave me alone. From the corner, Fabio clapped gleefully. Lovers quarrel this early? Adorable. We're not lovers. Xander and Priscilla shouted in unison, then quickly avoided each other's gaze. As the team began working on her, Priscilla complained the whole time. Xander, typing on his laptop from across the room, kept chuckling at her remarks. She was unexpectedly witty and sharp for someone who lived on the streets. They slathered a cold facial mask on her while she screamed, "Why does this feel like frozen yogurt? I think even my bones are shivering." Then came the hot wax for her brows. Not too thick. I still want eyebrows when this is over. They also taught her table manners, how to eat pasta with a fork and spoon properly. How does this work again? Do I stick the fork in my ear? She knew how to eat, but she liked messing with Xander to get even. They taught her how to walk in stilettos through the hallway. She tripped. Ow! Why does it feel like my soul has a fever? Why do I even have to wear these? I could just go barefoot. While she was getting a haircut, Xander spoke to her from the side. Just endure it. You'll thank me later. She glared at him. Endure your face. I'm not doing this for you. Xander chuckled. I didn't say that. When they were done, Priscilla stood in front of the mirror wearing a simple but elegant off-white dress. Her hair was freshly cut, her makeup light and clean, and her skin smooth. She couldn't believe her reflection. Her eyes widened. She caught a glimpse of Xander standing in the corner, lips parted and stunned. She blushed under his gaze, then quickly turned back to the mirror. Oh, wow. Is this really me? She whispered. Xander slowly walked behind her. You look acceptable. She turned to him, frowning. Acceptable? Come on, look at this face. I have cheekbones now. She turned her face left and right, showing it off. Don't get used to compliments. I brought food. I know you're starving. He moved aside, and there appeared the maids carrying trays of food. Priscilla immediately sat down. Yes, I'm starving. Boo, salted eggs, tomatoes, beef stew. My favorites. Sorry, I'm skipping all the etiquette stuff you taught me. I'm too hungry for that. Xander shook his head and took a seat across from her. Relax. You don't have to lunge at the food like someone's going to snatch it. You didn't see me at the soup kitchens. It's a survival sport, she replied, already chewing. Julie noted, avoid soup kitchen flashbacks. As she ate, Priscilla glanced at her reflection again. You know, I feel like this isn't me anymore, but I'm happy. You're still you, just polished. You look better, but you're still you. Oh, wow. Getting dramatic now. Eat your food. She pouted. And you? When will you polish that attitude of yours? Xander grinned. Maybe never. This is already the upgraded version. Poor you. She snorted. They both laughed, only to fall silent as their eyes met. After eating, Xander gave her a tour of the mansion so she could get familiar with the place. He could have left it to the maids, but he volunteered to do it himself. Tomorrow, we'll start your public training. You need to act like a lady. Easy, we're just pretending anyway, right? Priscilla asked. Exactly. We're just pretending. Priscilla stopped walking and turned to him. Then why are you really helping me? Xander paused. He took a moment before answering. Because I need you for the plan, for the deal. His tone was serious. Priscilla looked at him as if waiting for something more personal. That was all he said. He looked away when a maid approached and called him. Show her around. I'm heading to the office. Take care of her. He glanced back at Priscilla, who was still staring at him, confused. Then he turned and walked off, pulling out his phone and dialing his mother. Inside Xander's office, it was quiet. He sat at his desk, a glass of whiskey in one hand, staring at an old document. It was his grandfather Caesar's last will and testament. A highlighted clause read, "Full control of imperial property shall only be granted to the legitimate heir, provided he is legally married at the time of succession." So this is what it's all about, Grandpa, Xander muttered. He sighed deeply and closed his eyes. Days passed. After Xander talked to Priscilla about the marriage arrangement, she agreed. He didn't mention the will. Even though Priscilla was sassy and unpredictable, she was grateful to Xander for taking her off the streets. Things moved quickly. The wedding was simple but legal. Xander wore a suit. Priscilla showed up in a tank top and jeans, clearly unaware of the full weight of the situation. Are you sure about this? You barely know me. What if this is just for a green card, she teased. Xander rolled his eyes. There's no green card involved. And I don't have time for drama. Let's just get it over with. He didn't want to admit it, but that day he felt something. He didn't know why. He kept telling himself, it's all business. This is just for business. The next day, Priscilla was seen walking down a grand hallway filled with paintings and expensive vases. She was wearing heels, balancing a tray of juice glasses. So, this is what rich wives do. Heels and serving drinks you don't even drink, she muttered. She stumbled, having practiced, but never truly mastering the heels. The tray flew, and she crashed into a pedestal, holding a large vase. No, not that, she cried. The vase shattered, the sound echoed. Priscilla's eyes widened as the world seemed to crash around her. She dropped to her knees, gripping her foot, now bleeding from a shard of glass. What did you do? Xander came rushing in, stunned at the broken vase. She sat on the floor, bleeding. I was just walking and then boom, I tripped and broke it. That was your vase, huh? Sorry, Xander. She pouted. Xander looked like he was going to explode, but stopped when he saw the blood on her foot. He rushed over. What the hell? You're bleeding. Are you okay? Does it hurt? Priscilla winced and nodded. It hurts, but I think the vase costs more than me. You can sell me to make up for it, she joked tearfully. Xander panicked at the sight of the blood. Shut up. You're seriously bleeding. Come here. Wait. Where are you taking me? He lifted her bridal style. His face was tense, eyes forward. Get the car. We're going to the hospital now. Priscilla's eyes went wide. She squirmed. You're being dramatic. Put me down. It's just a little cut. I'm counting. 1, 2, I'm not going. Even if we reach 3, I'm still taking you. He was so over the top. He carried her into the emergency room like she was on the verge of death. Inside, Priscilla lay on a hospital bed in a private suite, her foot bandaged. My husband is so extra, she muttered, watching Xander pace, clearly anxious. Relax. You're acting like you're the one injured. I've had worse cuts. I lived on the streets, remember? That might be fine for you, but not for me, Xander snapped. You shouldn't have gotten hurt. Why weren't you more careful? It was the first time someone had cared for her like that. She stared at him. Her entire life, no one had worried about her, not like this. But she didn't show it. She had learned to hide joy because happiness always felt like it came with sorrow. Oh, come on. It's not like I got hit by a train, she scoffed. Xander leaned in. That vase was worth $200,000. But you know what's worth more? Your blood. My peace of mind. Every time you get hurt, I lose both. I don't know what you've done to me, but something's changed. He couldn't look her in the eye. Priscilla fell silent. I thought this was all fake, she said quietly. Xander finally looked at her. I never said it was fake. I just didn't expect it to matter this much. They both went quiet again. Priscilla understood English, but in that moment, her mind blanked. Her heart pounded too loud to think clearly. Stay with dark voices to see how their story unfolds. Xander sat in his office at the mansion, holding another copy of his grandfather's last will. The door opened. Priscilla stepped in, her foot still band-stricted, but walking fine. So, I just found out you needed a wife to inherit the company. Xander wasn't surprised. He'd been meaning to tell her anyway. Let me guess. Aunt Maribel told you, he said, referring to his mother's sister. Priscilla shook her head. Nope. I heard you and Attorney Alcantara talking. You thought I was asleep. Xander sighed. So now you know. Fine. I was going to tell you. You should have said so from the start. I would have still agreed to marry you. Just as a thank you for helping me off the streets, she said sincerely. Xander fell silent again, exhaling deeply. I didn't plan for this to get complicated, he admitted softly. Complicated? This is more complicated than a love triangle in a soap opera. Xander chuckled, pulled her by the waist, and lifted her onto the desk, even though there was a chair nearby. Lucky for you, I'm nice enough to agree to this marriage. I mean, come on. I'm too pretty to ignore. I've caught you staring at me. Admit it. Don't get used to it, he muttered. Too late. I'm already used to being admired, she teased. The days passed. Xander's patience was constantly tested by Priscilla's antics. But slowly, without realizing it, his heart began to soften. Every night, Priscilla had a new way of pestering him. Like that night, Xander was in bed reading a report, glasses on, serious expression, black robe on. Suddenly, the door creaked open. Priscilla peeked in, wearing a pink pajama set with cartoon eggs printed on it. Hey, are you asleep? She whispered. Xander glanced at her, then went back to reading. Obviously not. She walked in, sat at the edge of the bed, and patted the mattress. Then she lay beside him. Xander looked at her, surprised but didn't push her away. Priscilla closed her eyes, resting her hands on her stomach. Wow, you don't skimp on foam. This feels like floating. You know you can sleep in your own room, right? It's basically the same bed. She suddenly stood. Let me go check if it's just as soft. She walked out quickly, almost tripped, but caught herself on the wall, then glanced back at Xander, a bit embarrassed. Xander just shook his head, a small smile tugging at his lips. The next morning, it started again. While Xander enjoyed his coffee on the veranda, Priscilla appeared carrying a tray of toast and soft-boiled eggs, each decorated with ketchup smiley faces. Good morning, Mr. Grumpy, she chirped. Xander raised an eyebrow. What do you want now? Go shopping with the maids. You've been bugging me all day. Relax. I just brought breakfast. This is exclusively for Mr. Grumpy. She placed the tray in front of him and sat across from him. Xander crossed his arms. You woke up early just to annoy me. She pouted. Wow, so grateful. Maybe I just wanted to take care of you. Xander stared at the egg with a drawn-on face, then at the cup of juice. Eggs again? Is this the only thing you know how to make? She smirked. Do you know that some couples break up because the woman can't cook? Xander raised an eyebrow. Do you know how to cook? Priscilla squinted. Are you joking? Did you just make a joke? Over the next few days, Priscilla's antics escalated, or as she put it, her affection. One afternoon, Xander was in a Zoom call with investors. Priscilla suddenly popped into view behind him, wearing a unicorn headband. Babe, smile for a picture. I'm posting this on your IG. Let's take one together for your profile pic and wallpaper. She slipped the unicorn headband onto his head, smiling for the camera. Priscilla. Oh my God, what are you doing? I'm in a meeting. Mr. Imperial, is that a unicorn on your head? One investor laughed. Xander turned away from the camera and yanked the headband off, glaring at her. Excuse me for a second, he said to the Zoom room and turned off his camera. He faced Priscilla, who looked completely unfazed. You owe me $60 million worth of investor confidence, he grumbled. Relax. They were smiling. I bet they liked it. Probably made negotiations easier because you looked cute. She pinched his cheek. Xander scowled harder. Cute? I'm not cute. You are, she nodded, cupping his cheeks. Even with a horn on your head, you're still cute and handsome. That night, while rain poured outside, Xander stepped out of his room to get some water. Suddenly, Priscilla grabbed his arm. She was wrapped in a thick blanket. Xander, someone's knocking on the window. He jumped in surprise. What the? Are you crazy? You scared me. Oops. Sorry. I was testing if you scare easily, she said, hugging his arm. But seriously, babe, there's knocking on the window. He looked at her, half amused. You're scared of window knocks, but you're not scared of me kicking you out for constantly bothering me? What's so wrong with wanting to make you happy? It's not like you're telling me to stop. You don't scold me. That means you like it, too. Admit it. You like my attention. How could you kick me out? I'm your wife. Kicking out your wife is a sin. Xander said nothing, but something in his chest cracked open. He didn't know what this feeling was, but it was real. The next day, Xander stopped in the hallway when he saw Priscilla sitting in the garden, sketchpad in hand. Her hair was down, no makeup, in a plain outfit, but to him, she looked more beautiful than ever. He approached. What are you doing? Priscilla jumped a little. Just sketching. I wanted to draw your garden. You seem out of place here. Really? She looked at him and nodded. You belong in a concrete jungle, but lately it feels like you've started growing a few weeds in that cold heart of yours. Xander stared into the distance. Maybe because someone's been very persistent. They looked at each other. Their eyes stayed locked for a long time, then slowly drifted up to the sky. They didn't speak, but the silence said everything. Asterisk, will Xander admit his growing feelings, or is this marriage doomed to stay a charade? Find out more on Dark Voices, asterisk. The next day, Priscilla walked into Xander's room without knocking. He was lying on the bed in a white shirt and pajama pants, reading a book. Again, he asked. She lay beside him and closed her eyes. Don't worry, this is just another test. Xander glanced at her and was quiet for a few seconds. This had become a nightly routine, Priscilla sneaking into his bed, calling it a test. Are you sure it's really a test? Priscilla opened one eye lazily. Let's just say I'm training myself. Xander looked at her, slowly drifting to sleep. Me, too. For the first time, Priscilla fell asleep in Xander's bed. Not because of the game she played, but because she genuinely felt at peace. Xander smiled quietly as he stared at her sleeping face. He reached out and gently stroked her cheek, a softness he never expected to find behind the grime and sass. The truth was, he had seen her before, back when she was just another girl on the sidewalk. He had watched her from a distance. If his grandfather hadn't forced him to marry Altia, he would have pulled that girl from the streets and introduced her proudly to his family. Days passed, and something shifted in Xander. He couldn't explain it, but his mornings now felt brighter, livelier, less cold, and calculated. His previously dull, business-centered life had become colorful, chaotic, and full of surprises. All thanks to her. But it wasn't just amusement anymore. He couldn't lie to himself. He was falling for her. One morning, Priscilla sat on the veranda wearing a simple white dress with floral prints. Her hair was still damp from a shower, and she was nibbling on a bread roll while trying to read the morning paper, most of which she didn't really understand. Xander stepped out, coffee cup in hand. He paused at the door, silently watching her. You're so messy, he whispered under his breath, but still so beautiful. Priscilla didn't hear him, but when she noticed him approaching, she grinned. Good morning, Mr. Grumpy. Hey, that's your coffee. Where'd you come from? Another meeting. Xander sat across from her. Just walked around. Wanted some sunlight. Wow, you? Sunlight? You always keep your blinds closed in your room, she teased. Xander stopped chewing and looked her in the eye. Photographer, there was something different in his gaze now, something warmer, softer. Ever since she started sleeping in his room, he always made sure she stayed there. He would find a way to have her near. And Priscilla, for all her resistance, had started to like it, too. Are you sick or something? She teased. Xander stood, leaned down, and kissed her gently on the lips before quickly pulling away. I'm starting to like your lips, he said. Why don't you just kiss me every morning, then? She asked. Priscilla's eyes went wide as she covered her lips. Xander Imperial, you jerk. Xander burst into laughter but stopped when he saw her scowling at him. He quickly stood and backed away. Wait. I'm just Xander. She chased after him, barefoot, still holding her bread roll, as he ran across the lawn, laughing. A few minutes later, behind the house, Xander stood under a mango tree, out of breath and laughing. Priscilla caught up, also panting. I didn't know you could run that fast, he said. She raised an eyebrow. Of course I can. I'm a street kid, remember? I've outrun more trouble than you can imagine. Now come here. I'm returning that kiss. Xander grinned and stepped closer. You don't want it? He didn't answer right away. I do. Just don't be rude. Xander smiled and gently wrapped his arms around her from behind. She was startled but didn't pull away. She felt his warmth on her back, the steady beat of his heart against her shoulder. Tonight, he whispered, you can give it back, but right now I'm telling you, I'm falling, Priscilla. She looked out into the distance, stunned by his words. I thought this was just a game, she said. He hugged her tighter. This is the real game. Yeah, but baby, I don't play. You know how serious I am, and you feel it, too. You know what I feel for you. Priscilla couldn't speak, but she leaned into his embrace, eyes glistening. Inside the house, the maids were watching through the window, whispering among themselves. Look at them, one said, cuddling in the garden. I thought they'd always fight with how Madame nags him, but they really do spark. Right. The boss used to hate noise. Now he's practically in love. That evening, Priscilla lay on the couch in Xander's room, wearing pajamas, holding a bowl of popcorn, and watching a comedy film on a tablet. Xander was on the bed, staring at her. Aren't you going to sleep? Nope, I want to watch more. You go first, unless you want a kiss goodnight, she teased, putting the bowl aside and covering her face with a pillow. Why are you like this? She muttered behind the pillow. Xander stood and walked over. He gently removed the pillow, looking into her eyes. What do you mean like this? You don't want my kiss? You're so picky, she joked. He leaned down, not to kiss her lips, but her forehead. She closed her eyes. Wow, a gentleman when you want to be. He picked her up and laid her in bed. Before she could roll away, he hugged her tightly. You know I like you, right? I think I'm falling. She blinked. Falling where? Xander laughed and kissed her lips again. The next morning, Priscilla woke up in Xander's bed. He was holding her from behind, fast asleep. No wonder she slept so well. As she tried to get up, Xander tightened his grip and buried his face in her neck. Don't go. Stay here, he mumbled. I'm hungry, Xander, she said, pouting as she turned to face him and gently tapped his cheek. Xander opened his eyes slightly and kissed her on the lips. Then just eat me, he whispered flirtatiously. Her eyes widened. She smacked his shoulder. You're crazy. Come on, get up. Xander sighed dramatically. Fine. We have an event at Mom's house today. You're coming. I already bought something for you to wear. It's in the closet. Go pick what you want. Priscilla smiled and got up to check. Since she joined Xander's world, she had slowly adapted to his luxurious lifestyle. From a girl who once smelled like smoke and slept beside dumpsters, she now wore designer gowns, ate steaks she once only saw on TV, and attended exclusive events. But nothing could prepare her for the biggest change that was about to shake her world. What shocking revelation awaits Priscilla at the gala? Don't miss the next twist on Dark Voices. It was a glamorous evening at a 5-star hotel in New York. The event was the annual charity gala hosted by Imperial Properties for their outreach programs. Celebrities, politicians, business tycoons, and other VIPs were in attendance. At the center of it all stood Priscilla, dressed in an emerald green gown that hugged her figure. After Xander introduced her as his wife, she became the star of the night. Xander grinned as he admired her from afar. You don't even look like the same person anymore, he said as he approached. Where's the girl who used to have soy sauce stains on her shirt? The one with dirt all over her face? The same girl who first caught my attention. Priscilla rolled her eyes. Don't get used to this. I'm back in pajamas and flip-flops tomorrow. I don't care. Even if you show up in a tank top, you'd still be beautiful to me, he said with a wink. You're so cheesy, Xander. He kissed her forehead. She leaned into him, his arm wrapping around hers. As the night continued, the music played on. Xander invited her to dance. Though a bit clumsy, she agreed. Relax, he said, guiding her. You're swaying like a bamboo in a hurricane. She playfully hit his shoulder. I'd rather be a bayonne than a typhoon. Suddenly, she stepped on the hem of her gown and tore it. Her leg was exposed in front of everyone. Oh crap, my gown, Xander, babe, she yelled, covering her leg with her hands. The room fell silent for a moment, then erupted in laughter. Her reaction wasn't vulgar. It was innocent and real. She's so cute, one woman said. So natural. Mr. Imperial's wife is such a delight. Xander immediately took off his coat and draped it over her. You okay? He asked, concerned. She nodded. I tore my favorite gown. It's just a dress. You're what matters. Priscilla felt like the world stopped. Before she could say anything, Xander scooped her up and carried her straight to their hotel suite. They didn't return to the event, only stopping by his mom to say goodbye. The next morning, Priscilla sat quietly in the living room wearing a t-shirt and shorts, eating toasted bread while watching the news. On the screen, a report flashed from the Etch family, owners of the country's largest metal and recycling empire. The report said the rightful heir was still missing. A young girl supposedly left at an orphanage many years ago. A faded photo appeared on screen. Priscilla frowned. Wait, that's me. It was a picture from her orphanage days, wearing an old uniform, scar on her cheek, holding a soggy doll. Reporters swarmed outside Xander's mansion. He immediately ordered security to clear the area and protect Priscilla. Shaking and confused, Priscilla stayed inside her room, unsure of what she was feeling. Fear, hope, or something else. Then came a knock at the door. Priscilla, you have a visitor. She opened the door and saw an elderly woman crying, holding the same photo. My child, are you princess? She asked, trembling. Priscilla's lips quivered. No one had ever called her that, except for one old maid from her orphanage. She had forgotten, but now hearing it again brought back memories. The woman embraced her tightly, tears flowing. I'm your grandmother, Amelia. My daughter, Feliza, was your mom. She died in an accident. We lost you after that until this photo showed up in a record from one of the orphanages in the city. You left the orphanage 10 years ago. I hired investigators to look for you, and someone reached out. She looked at Priscilla with loving eyes. Your husband Xander, he told us. We arranged a DNA test, and the necklace you're wearing, it confirmed everything. Only 3 people had one like it. One belonged to Xander's family, one to his late wife, and the last belonged to my granddaughter. Priscilla gripped her necklace tightly and broke down in tears. Xander entered and wrapped his arms around her from behind. I'm here, he whispered. She hadn't expected to have a family. She didn't know what to feel. Grief, joy, or both. After calming down, she sat and talked with her grandmother, Amelia. She refused to let go of Xander's hand. A few days later, she agreed to another DNA test just to be sure. While waiting for the results, she grew quiet, full of questions. If I really am the granddaughter of a junk shop tycoon, what will happen to us, Xander? She asked. Xander kissed her forehead. Whatever happens, you're still mine. Priscilla smiled. You're so cheesy, but thank you for not giving up on me. I've fallen even harder for you. They embraced again. At a private medical center, the results came in. It was positive. A 25% match with Grandma Amelia and a 99.99% match with her late mother, Feliza. You are Princess Priscilla Ives, granddaughter of Mrs. Amelia Ives. Priscilla's eyes widened. Her grandmother rushed forward and hugged her again. "Thank God we preserved a DNA sample from your mom," Amelia said. "You don't know how long I prayed for this. I cried every night at the altar, hoping I'd find you." Priscilla cried, hugging her tightly. "I have so many questions, Lola. But thank you. Thank you for finding me. I thought I had no one, but you searched for me even when I didn't know if I was alive. I love you, my child." A week after the confirmation, Priscilla temporarily stayed at the Ives estate. She had her own room, her own driver, and personal security. But even with all the comfort, she couldn't help missing Xander. In front of a large mirror, wearing a simple but elegant dress, she stared at her reflection. "I'm Priscilla Ives, but to me, I'm already an Imperial. I'm Xander Imperial's wife." Her phone rang, the one her grandmother bought for her. Her face lit up when she saw who was calling. "Babe, come to the rooftop. I'm waiting for you, wife." She immediately put down the phone and ran upstairs. As soon as she stepped out, she saw Xander standing there holding a small cake. "Happy 5 months, wife. I've loved you for 5 months now, and I can honestly say I love you even more today. I'm so proud of you." Priscilla burst into tears. She ran into his arms and hugged him tightly. She cupped his face and kissed him deeply. When they pulled away, she grabbed his hand. "Come on, let's go. Grandma wants to get to know you better. She misses you already, even though she's only seen you once." When they got there, her grandma was busy picking out clothes online. "That one's perfect for my granddaughter, Sandra. Get 5 in different colors. And that one, too. Great color. Let's get it." The maid beside her held a growing pile of clothes. "I'm sure Miss Priscilla will love these, madam." Sandra pointed to more outfits. Priscilla winced. She remembered they had been at it since that morning. "Grandma, ma'am, that's enough. I already have so many clothes, I won't even get to wear all of them. Xander bought me plenty, too. Please, that's enough." She pulled Xander closer. "My husband's here, Grandma. He surprised me for our 5th month. Isn't that sweet?" When Xander entered, her grandma stood up and smiled warmly. "Oh, Xander, you're so handsome, like a movie star. I'm glad you came. My granddaughter's been missing you for days." Xander walked up and hugged her. "Good afternoon, Grandma. Why do you look so shy? Is this your first time?" Priscilla whispered. "Yeah, it is," he replied. They both laughed. Priscilla already knew about Altia. She wasn't jealous. Xander never loved her. He'd only been frustrated that he couldn't claim his inheritance after Altia's death. While they chatted, Priscilla animatedly told stories about her days as dumpster girl. Her grandma listened with joy and fascination. No matter how many times Priscilla told them, she never grew tired of hearing about her granddaughter's past. Xander, sitting quietly, smiled while watching them. After dinner, her grandma wasn't ready to let Xander go. "Stay here tonight, Xander. We've got plenty of rooms, but if you want to share one, that's fine, too. I mean, I want a great-grandchild soon," she said with a wink. Priscilla gave her a thumbs up. "I love that idea." "Grandma, it's still a bit early for that." Xander couldn't finish his sentence. Priscilla clamped her hand over his mouth. "Grandma, can we talk in private? Just some girl talk." She glanced at Xander, then literally pushed him out of the kitchen. "Go wait in the living room. Don't go home." "Okay, I'll get mad." "Got that, Xander Imperial?" Xander laughed. "Crystal clear, Mrs. Imperial." They moved to a corner of the kitchen. Grandma sat down as Priscilla peeked out the door to make sure Xander wasn't nearby. "Grandma, I need a favor." Grandma raised an eyebrow. "Go on, child. What is it?" Priscilla leaned in and whispered, "I want you to put a sleeping aid in Xander's drink. Please convince him to drink some milk before he goes to bed." Grandma's eyes widened. What, child? What are you planning? That's not right. Please, Grandma, it's not bad. I just want him so tired he'll finally crack. You want a great-grandchild, right? Are you in a hurry? He won't even touch me. I sleep right next to him, and nothing. I'm all in, but he's acting like I'm invisible. Grandma gasped. You're the second woman in our family to throw yourself at a man. Your mom said the same thing after meeting your dad, Ariel, she sighed. Well, it must be in the blood. But that young man respects you. Even though you're married, he wants to wait until you're ready. But Grandma, I am ready. She looked at her with love. Because you're my granddaughter, I'll help you. I'd love a great-grandchild. Priscilla beamed as they began hatching their little plan. In one glass, Grandma added just enough sodarim to make him sleep deeply. No weird taste, right? Nope, just like milk. But if it doesn't work, well, we'll go to plan B. Grandma winked. Priscilla made a face but laughed along. When Xander entered the living room, he was checking his phone. Priscilla sneaked up behind him, wrapping her arms around his neck and kissing his cheek. Go up to the bedroom. My name's on the door. You'll find it. We're sleeping together, remember? Of course, wife. What else would I do? He smiled. No, I'll catch up later. Just then, Grandma arrived with the glass of milk. She insisted that Xander drink it. He did and then headed upstairs. Priscilla stayed downstairs a little longer with her grandma. When she entered the bedroom, her shoulders slumped. Xander was lying in bed, reading his tablet, freshly showered. The drug hadn't worked. She sighed and climbed into bed. Hey, did you miss me? She asked, pulling his hand under her head. We were just together, wife. Still, you should have missed me. Fine, fine. I missed you, he said, putting the tablet away and pulling her close. Come here. Why? She asked. He looked up at her with a mischievous smile. Priscilla froze. Why are you nervous? Isn't this what you wanted? He asked. He cupped her face and kissed her lips. Huh? What do you mean? I know you and Grandma spiked my drink. She panicked and tried to push him off. No, swear. It was just milk, not a sleeping aid. Xander laughed. Zulfi, what? Her cheeks burned. She buried her face in his chest. No, do you want me to get pregnant? Just say the word. I'll give it to you, he said sweetly. She quickly looked up, eyes wide with hope. Really? I do, hubby. I do. He pulled her into a kiss, and she responded with the same hunger. They didn't hold back. Their desire took over. They didn't realize when or how, but they ended up undressed, moving together in rhythm, lost in each other completely. The next morning, Priscilla woke up first. Her body ached, but she pushed herself up anyway. She turned to Xander, who was still fast asleep beside her. Quietly, she leaned over and brushed her fingers through his hair, smiling at the memory of what happened the night before. You're so unfair, she whispered, gazing at him. How can you be this handsome even when you're asleep? She leaned in and kissed his lips.